are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. I just came from winter swimming. I mean, now it's like spring swimming.
Oh, that's so great. I really appreciate you coming on. I gotta say, the audience, two amazing things happened last night that gave me chills. One, everybody just started singing. I was like, oh my goodness, are they gonna sing or are we just gonna sit here awkwardly and see you're gonna repeat the lines twice? And yeah, like everybody started singing. And then at the end, it was like so quiet. Like people were so moved by your
Mm,
film. And they came up to me and they were like, oh my goodness. Like they were talking about the cinematography and they're like, just how the bodies were shown and like they were
mm.
so uplifted by the spirit, of it. And
Oh,
people sharing their stories. So I guess we'll just do a couple questions and then I can let you go.
mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'd love to just talk a little bit more about the smoke sauna community and culture. And, you kind of explained, well, actually, could you just kind of explain what the inspiration was for this film and why you decided to make it and why you're, so passionate about this community?
Mm. Yeah, so I mean, I was born into the smoke sauna culture. And when I think about the smoke sauna, that really changed my life, or let's say consciously, I became aware of smoke sauna as this kind of safe space where you're really heard and seen.
Yeah.
It was when I was 11 and my grandfather had just died and his body was in the farmhouse, and we went to smoke sauna one day before funeral. And there it was my granny, my aunt, my niece, and we were there, and granny revealed that grandfather had actually cheated on her, not just once but several times, and lived with another woman. And she let out all these emotions connected with that. I remember there was a lot of shame, this kind of question, what was wrong with her, with me, what
Yeah.
was why was I not enough. Then there was anger and hurt, and all this came out. And I was 11, and just being there, just like, you know witnessing my granny letting out these emotions, helping her to let out these emotions. And one smoke sauna session lasts several hours. And once you're like inside smoke sauna, then you go out, you come back. And then once we went fully out and put clothes on, I felt that granny had made peace with grandfather, so that
Mm.
next day we could bury grandfather in peace. And I realized later that I remember that time, that it was
Yes.
like this kind of bodily
Mm-hmm.
experience, this kind of like
Yeah.
vibration in my body, like feeling that, okay, on this earth there is a safe space where you can
Yes.
absolutely share everything, and not be afraid to let out whatever emotions are there, that there is the safe space where you can let it out without judgment. And it was later now I realized that, okay, that was the time where I was like I experienced first time what washing the soul means, because I always knew that, okay, smoke sauna is the spiritual place, you wash your
Yes.
body, you wash your soul, but what does it actually mean, washing your body?
Yeah.
And that was the time when it was like I was initiated to sisterhood, I was initiated to washing the soul. And this was so like life-changing moment. And
Yes.
that space I'm carrying with me, I
Mm-hmm.
started to carry with me throughout the whole life. And it's like um it's like I don't know, it has carried me through all the challenges in my life,
Yes.
knowing that there is that space. It's
Yeah.
different. It makes you live more fully in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever challenges are there.
Yeah. And then so a lot of people were at the screening last night were talking about the choices of where to show the camera, showing some people's faces, and then showing different, like parts of the body they don't really show in films. And I was wondering if you could just talk really quickly about your choices for where you were filming and like how you were elevating these women on screen, and talk about that process a little.
You mean like filming the bodies, yeah?
Yeah, those choices of where to film.
Yeah. So I was really, no, I just say I came to car, but it's fine. It's
Okay,
life.
well, we'll wrap up soon. I really appreciate you talking to me.
It's fine. I just if there is sound or something, but don't be scared.
Okay.
So yes, I was really scared about actually like how like of how to make sure that non-sexual glance
Yes.
that is in smoke sauna, how to make sure that comes also to the film.
Yes.
Because I have a degree in photography, and I'm very aware that there is nothing like objective camera. Like every camera is actually subjective and has a glance. Are we aware of that or not? And I was really scared that how to make sure that non-sexual glance transfers to this film. So for that, me and cinematographer took time. We went to smoke sauna together, and we were like almost imagine like calibrating your glance, but through the camera, like calibrating that glance. And we were filming my body and finding that visual language where I felt safe, and like really we took that time together, and once and we filmed it. And then when we both felt good about it, then I showed it to the women, because I felt it is so important that they also know how their bodies are being treated, by our camera.
Yes.
And they felt safe. And then I was like following who wanted to show their face, who didn't want to show their face. And the whole, the whole vision for the film was how to transform the smoke sauna space into this dark cinema hall, so that you would feel that you're inside the smoke sauna. And so that already gives also different perspective. It's like filming closely, being like really giving you this feeling how it feels like to be in that dark smoke sauna space. And the whole work also with women, it was really beautiful, actually, because people have asked me like, how was it possible that there was this intimacy? And so I talked about the visual aspects, but just how they shared and how they were ready to share. So I can just say that for there were some important things in the process. First of all, I had a rule that I will not convince anyone. So I started with a sisterhood that I'm part of. I met them. I was very like open and transparent about the level of intimacy that I'm looking after in the film, and then only those who were like, yes, they want to be in the film, then we continued the journey. But when I sensed there was like hesitation or like, no, I didn't convince. And that's very different what they taught me in film school. In film school, it's about like, seducing your subject and convincing. And it felt wrong to me, because doing this kind of film where it's about empowerment, all these women finding their voices, I cannot, as a director, overpower with my voice. So that was the first thing. And the second very important thing was that usually when somebody says yes, then it means that production brings legal papers that you sign. And before filming even. But this again like felt so wrong to me. Like, okay, like I asked them to be naked, body and soul. I don't know what the stories will be. They don't know what the stories will be. We enter smoke sauna, and whatever starts to come up, it starts to come up. and then they would sign something. It felt wrong. And as a filmmaker, it's so important who are the people that you surround you with,
Yes.
yourself with. So I really was lucky to have producer Marianne Ostrat,
Yes,
who
she's
really
amazing.
and supported that vision and took huge risk. You know, we made the film 7 years, and we had this agreement, and she supported that agreement that we don't sign anything, only in the post-production when I have already a cut to show. I show it to the women, and then they have the right to say yes or no, and I take that their voices into consideration. And then when they find their yes, when I show the cut, then they sign. So it was huge risk, of course, to production. You know, like okay, you film somebody 7 years, then they say, sorry, I don't want myself there. But I feel to make this kind of film and to have that kind of intimacy and that, you know, rawness, that, you know, like the real stories coming up, and the safety, and also to be naked, body and soul, you have to make yourself vulnerable as a filmmaker too. And so I can say that this journey really taught me that you can make strong and bold and intimate films with being transparent and being you know, including like the people, not overpowering. And yeah, it has been just like very, very healing and fulfilling journey, like also to
Oh
make
my
it.
God. And for the audiences too. And, you know, I wanted to talk about your short film because I'm really excited about that and how you're continuing to get with the Smoke Sauna community, but from like the men. And so I'm excited to see that. And then congrats on your single that is just blowing up like that. You're killing it, you know, and it makes me so happy to see that. And just thank you for taking the time to speak with me. You're not physically driving, are you? You're just kind of like in a car. Okay. I was like, oh my God, if she gets in an accident, I'm gonna like freak. But no, you're just a passenger. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Well, great. So thank you so much. The Chicago audiences just loved the film. It was a sold out screening. And we're just so grateful that we could just share the Smoke Sauna love. And, you know, I just love what this film is doing. And yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm just, you know, it's such a, how can I say, oh, my heart is just singing, and I'm just so happy for this. And it tells me that, you know, it gives me hope. It gives me that, you know, despite our cultural differences and, you know, all kinds of differences, we can connect on human level. And that's what Smoke Sauna is also telling. You know, it's the wisdom of that space, that, you know, we don't need to vote the same party or pray to the same God or believe in God at all, but we can come together as human beings and hear each other out and see each other and respect each other. And when it also gives this wisdom that whatever traumas that they're frozen inside us, when we have safety, we have warmth, we can melt all these traumas. That's what my granny used to say. And maybe for the ending, I can just say that, you know, when I started to make the film, I thought that really the most important is the courage to share the uncomfortable. But when I was doing the film, I really realized that the most important is actually the courage to hear the uncomfortable. Like, are we in society also ready to hear the uncomfortable? For example, I have had some people, like it was in France when I was in cinema tour there recently. Then one gentleman came to me and said, you know, he introduced himself as Mr. Cinephile, and like he loved the film artistically and everything. He had just one comment that, hey, you could have, only one thing, Anna, you could have made this film more comfortable for men to watch, especially like rape, you know, rape story, to make it more nicer. And I was like, you know, no. I was like, no, that's there's nothing nice or comfortable in a rape. And the whole point is that we have to create these spaces to really hear, be okay with the uncomfortableness. It is uncomfortable.
Yes.
But that's how healing happens, you know, and really this kind of hearing that happens in Smoke Sauna, where we don't judge, you just hear each other out. That is just so beautiful, because we often think that, oh, we hear each other, but actually it's more like we want to preach, we want to teach something, you know, comment or judge. But just hearing out, just like
Yes.
giving voice to your story and giving space to hear others' stories. It's just, it can change lives.
Yes. I love that. Oh my God. So thank you. And we're making
Thank
it
you.
5 minutes before your next meeting. And yeah, I'm just glad with the time zones we were able to actually make this work. But
Yes.
yes, congratulations on everything and about the success of the film. And I'm so excited to keep following you and make it to Estonia someday.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely. We have to do a smoke sauna one day in Estonia.
Yes. Woohoo. I'm
Yeah.
excited. All right. You have
Okay.
a
Lots of
great
love.
day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay, so I ended, oh, she got up. Okay, cool. All right.